Hello and welcome to Velocity Talks. My name is Christopher Durham and I'm the president of the Velocity Institute. This, of course, is our regular opportunity to talk to the cool people in the retail, the private brand, the tech, the sustainability, all kinds of space. But of course, we love a good private brand out there. So today I'm excited to welcome a gentleman from Amazon, Justin.
Woo!
Justin, introduce yourself, Justin.
Hey, it's great to be here. Justin Honaman. I lead worldwide retail and consumer goods go-to-market. I sit within Amazon Web Services, and I get a chance every day to work with my team with a lot of the major retailers out there and a lot of the largest brands, but also many of the startup brands. So it's great to spend time with you today.
That's exciting. So before we jump in, I'll do the obligatory YouTube thing. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share the whole 9 yards. It helps the algorithm. And of course, it helps us grow and make sure you get the information every time we publish a video. Justin, tell us a little bit about you, man.
Yes, I'm now in my fourth year at Amazon. My background largely in retail and consumer goods, 10 years at Coca-Cola, a couple years at Georgia Pacific, and on the tech and consulting side, spent time at companies you all might know, Accenture and Ernst& Young. I'm an industrial engineer by all the way background.
Industrial, is that what your degree's in?
Yep, Georgia Tech. There you go.
Georgia Tech. So I'm in Charlotte, so just down the road.
Yeah. Just down the road. So anyway, that's a little bit about me and some of my background.
Very good. So tell us, you piqued a little bit of interest on Amazon, and I assume people know Amazon, but give us the speech, give us the spiel.
Hopefully you all know Amazon. Our mission is to be Earth's most customer-centric company. And if you think about retail and the retailers we work with worldwide, we work with the vast majority of those, as well as the vast majority of consumer packaged goods brands here at Amazon Web Services. And we're working with those companies on everything from their sales and marketing strategy to their technology strategy to how they engage customers and shoppers and consumers to innovation and supply chain. So we really work with those companies across the gamut of business leaders as well as technology. And many of them come to us because they're trying to move faster. They're trying to innovate, trying to create new products or develop new ideas or leverage some of the things that we here at Amazon have to offer that can help them to move faster and, quite frankly, create a better customer experience for their customers.
And our company is so online. Coming out of COVID, we were doing virtual events and we were doing there's all these AI tools and all this stuff. And it amazes me how many things AWS is. You don't own the company, but they're probably, you're hosting them or it's just startling.
There's a lot in our industry. There's definitely a lot of excitement and interest now around technology and things like you mentioned AI, generative AI this last year it took the world by storm in a way. And what's really interesting and exciting about that is it's not just IT. In fact, the line of business leaders, the CEO, the boards are actually paying attention to what's happening with data, what's happening with analytics and tech, and how it can really help grow top line and also help with costs. So pretty powerful and exciting time to be in our industry.
Tell us a little bit about what you've got going or what's happening in the industry and where you see things going in the next year.
Yeah, a lot of excitement around innovation. Let's talk about the brand side. So the last 2 or 3 years, you didn't see a lot of innovation from some of the major brands. That is changing, and with a real focus on innovation and growing new brands, but also looking at where has the innovation come from within brands, and that's been with a lot of the smaller niche players and startups. And so, especially in food and beverage, I think that's an exciting space to look at. On the retail side, retail stores are open; they're growing. Many of our retail customers are opening stores worldwide. They're looking at new technology for in-store experience. They're investing in loyalty. They're putting new apps together. Their e-commerce platforms are shifting, and so just like I said, a lot of acceleration. And I'll say the data and tech part of these different brands and these different companies. But the whole idea of it is how do we get closer to the customer? How do we build a better relationship with them? And how do we get them what they want, where they want it?
Feels like we came out of COVID and things on the tech side, the AI side, the metaverse side, all this stuff just accelerated at the speed of light.
After COVID, the first year was really focused on supply chain. And so we had many customers reaching out with asking for help to get products to the right place, right time, even source products and help with supply chain logistics, distribution, forecasting, replenishment. Those were the big topics, I'd say, that kind of first year. And then this last year, we saw a real focus early in the year and all the customer experience technologies, customer experience, like focus and strategy, resolving some of this back office, like very on-premise technical heavy environments And then what happened about a quarter way through last year, we all experienced the generative AI excitement, and we all learned what, if you didn't know what AI meant or machine learning, generative AI or the models around that, it was a big topic of discussion. And now we have customers using it, and that's a game changer. And so that you'll continue to see evolve very quickly this year and next, and it will change many roles at most companies.
Yeah, we have a AI virtual event coming up on private brand and AI in February, and I don't even have all the speakers announced yet. And the signups for it, the interest in it is just through the roof. They're all like, "This is cool, but we're scared, but we have to do it, and maybe we can go faster and be smarter with it." And it's just that how the hell do we do what and what do we do?
Yeah, I would just say and I say this at all the presentations I give, is if you're not leaning in to at least understand it, please do. This is not metaverse and blockchain, some other things that have had a lot of, I'll say, flash, but haven't delivered necessarily the short-term benefit. Whereas generative AI is one that we view as a significant game changer and will evolve and change the customer experience that most of us are able to deliver. And so lean in, please.
Yeah,
You don't,
please. That's what I'm
you don't have to be an
telling.
IT.
Don't be scared. If nothing
Yeah.
else, look at it for analytics. Holy cow, everybody has so much data that I don't know what to do with. If AI could help a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Besides all the models and what you can do with them around images and text and whatnot, it's really shining a light on data challenges for most of the companies we work with, and that's another area that's just, again, picking up the pace because people need to be able to. They need data to be able to run models against.
Yeah,
Focus.
so it's for us, it's they all wanna get to market faster with their package design and photography and all that, so, I don't know, there's all kinds of opportunity that I think is gonna change a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Well, so as you look towards the future then, right, so where do you see use your crystal ball, what does the next 4 or 5 years look like?
I would not go out 4 or 5 years.
Let's do 18 months.
Let's remember 12 months ago, no one knew what Chat GPT was or
Lord
large
knows.
models, or we've started the year fast. And we had this last week, the largest retail event of the year, National Retail Federation's big show. We had one of the largest consumer products events, the Food Marketing Institute's Midwinter Executive Forum. And what was clear to me out of those two events was you had a lot of technology execs at one and a lot of business execs at the other, and a lot of positive energy, a lot of interest in investment, not focused on like we've got to cut. We're actually looking to invest and grow. I'm looking to partner in new and different ways and looking to take down some of the silos that have prevented some of the major brands from moving forward faster. That's exciting to us because we are like an engine behind a lot of that and a partner for most of those companies. And so I'd say those are good things that will then generate new experiences for you and I in the store or online or on an app. So I think that's where we'll see a lot of advancement this year is in that customer experience. For us, it's back at the NRF last week, thought the topic was going to be all about generative AI, and it turns out there was a lot of our customers very interested in store technology and physical store technology and
Yeah.
data part and like integration using different services. So I think it's interesting and exciting. And again, customers are reaching out and wanting to explore, which is good. That's what I think we'd want to see that happening.
I mean, I think it's intriguing to see what they're going to explore, and that in-store experience conversation, what, 2 years ago, they were saying retail was dead altogether in bricks and mortar, and everybody's saying that now.
Majority of retailers we're working with are opening stores, are expanding stores, are retrofitting stores with new tech, are opening new flagship stores. It's always the exception, but those that are focused on the customer experience are the ones that are leading. And I think you'll see even closer, I don't want to say integration, but just handoff between the physical store and then the digital or e-commerce for store for most brands are looking to meet a customer's needs or orders.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're probably right. Very good. Well, anything we missed? Anything you wanna make sure you throw in there?
That's a pretty good list, and we covered both sides. I think on the consumer packaged goods side for brands, I mentioned focused around innovation. Supply chain is certainly still top of list, and then for both consumer goods and retail, data and analytics has always been important, and it's going to continue to be top of mind for every organization. So, like you're out there thinking about what your next career might be or looking for your next degree, that'd be a good place to go. There'll be a home for you for many years to come.
Well, it leads into some of our 5 things, so I bet that's a similar answer you might have to one of the questions. Let's talk through that then. So I always end with the same 5 questions if people regular watchers know this. Question number 1, what's your favorite word?
So I choose a word of the year every year. This year it was one, and then it changed to another. So my first word was intentional, being intentional in where, and how I spend my time and whatnot. But then I decided to change it to the light, be like the shining light that people can look to for guidance, look to for support, look to confidence. And so I changed my word of the year to that last week.
Oh, that's a great word.
Yeah.
Question number 2, are you a more artistic or more mathematic person?
I do both. I am a singer, songwriter. I host a podcast. I've written a couple books on personal branding. I can come up with a lot. I'm ideation machine at times.
Mhm.
At the same time, an industrial engineer, as I mentioned earlier. So like, I can get into the numbers, structure. I think I walk the line between both. And if you're familiar with like Myers Briggs or HBDI and whatnot, I sit whole brain in that from that perspective.
Makes sense, absolutely. That makes you a Da Vinci then, right?
I mean, you got to decide in the context of the moment, like what it is you need to bring, and that's how I think about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, number 3, if you could share a meal with anyone, past or present, living or dead, who would it be and why?
So for those listening, I got the questions ahead of time, and I just didn't. I don't. There's not like one person. So I struggle with that a bit because my theory on it is if there's someone I want to meet, I'll reach out to them, and and at worst case they can say no. So maybe my takeaway from all of you on that one is if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And so I typically ask, and if the answer is no, then at least I know. That doesn't make sense, but it does. They might say yes, and so that's my takeaway for that one. I'm not going to give you one name, but like
I can tell you after doing all of these interviews and booking speakers for conferences, you'd be shocked the people that'll say yes if you ask.
totally. I think people want to be asked for coaching and advice and like input, and it's not for sensational purposes, but come on, guys, reach out, ask, just ask.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. What profession other than your own would you have liked to have attempted?
I When I was in college, I worked for NASA for 3 years on the space shuttle.
Oh, that's cool.
I worked on Discovery and Endeavor, for those that know the shuttle program at Kennedy Space Center. And so I always like to say I got as close to launching as I could have ever been, sitting like laying on my back looking out the window of the shuttle hours before we launched, and it was just incredible. So I'd say an astronaut because or pilot. I almost had my private pilot license when I was younger, so I think kind of that track was an option, and I didn't take it, which is great. I love what I'm doing, and that would have been an interesting alternative.
So I went to college in Charleston, South Carolina. So not only 4 or 5 hours from Port Canaveral, not too far.
Yeah.
And the shuttles were still going on. To date myself, the shuttles were still launching then. So me and my buddies would drive down.
Oh
Like
yeah.
we'd leave
Me
at 6 o'clock at
too.
night and get down there because the launches were always the first thing in the morning, middle of the night, or whatever. We went down 4 times. We never saw a launch. We got
Well, that's
drugged every time, and we
yeah.
slept in a tent on the side of the road down there with 1,000 other people.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
was
for those
in
of you that are a
Mav
little younger, you're used to people going up all the time now in launches, all kinds of competitors in the space race. But I mean, at the time there really wasn't any other company. It was just
Yeah.
it's really NASA, and that was
Well,
it.
we were in Port Canaveral going on a cruise, gosh, last year, I guess it was. We pulled up to the hotel and they're like, "There's a launch in whatever time." Next morning, there was a launch. We walked out on the parking deck right there in Cocoa Beach, and you watched the SpaceX launch. It's like, that's the
Totally
coolest thing ever.
is. And I mean, if you haven't ever seen a rocket or any launch, I mean, you feel it on your chest, and like it's just a sound that you can't replicate in any sort of movie theater or whatnot. So
Final question, number 5. If you could speak to yourself when you began your career, what advice would you give yourself?
yeah, I'm not a very patient person, so I think even though I'd give that advice, I'm not sure it would really work. But I think I could offer that, and then also like not getting too anxious with your career, where you're kind. And I see this with people help coach and mentor a lot of times. They get anxious and they move on a little too quickly. They didn't let things play out, and I certainly did that at least once or twice. Where if I just kind of let things play out a bit more instead of trying to take over and take control. It may have been a better situation. And so I think that's what I would tell myself is, going to be times when it seems like the right move is just get out and run to the next thing. Instead of running away from something, you want to be running towards something. And so I would say make sure you're running towards something than just running away from.
That's great advice. Very good. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
So
man.
we always end up, I plug a little bit of the things that we have going on. In February, I think I mentioned earlier, we'll have our private brand and AI summit. It's a virtual summit, absolutely free. So 2 hours just diving deep into the subject and how private brand and AI could potentially work together. Then we'll do in March, so the 27th of March, our Velocity Innovation Summit, really diving into product development and manufacturing. That's also a virtual summit. And finally, for the first part of the year, in May, we'll have our, I think it's 7th annual Velocity Conference here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll have a couple hundred people come together to talk about private brand strategy, innovation, consumer engagement, the whole 9 yards. It's a great event. I've got tickets available for that as well, and expo booths if you'd like to come and exhibit and sponsor. So please join us for that, velocityinstitute.org. Justin, thanks, of course, for joining us.
Appreciate it. It was great. Can't wait to come back.